Good morning and welcome to Cheche, the show where opinion counts, live on Citizen TV. I'm your host, Udwak Amimo. The national and county governments have agreed a truce in the latest of their turf battles. This follows a summit at State House yesterday between President Uhuru Kenyatta, along with his deputy on the one hand, and county governors on the other. Governors were outraged by the president's move to increase the powers of county commissioners, claiming it violated the constitution and undermined devolution. President Kenyatta directed county commissioners to coordinate national government operations and to chair security committees. And so the chairman of the Constitution Implementation Commission, Charles Nyachaya, is our guest today, along with the chair of the Council of Governors, Bomet Governor Isaac Ruto. Mutagin Jao of Royal Media Services and David Makali are in the studio as the Cheche panel. Good morning and welcome to Cheche. Mr. Nyachaya, I'll come to you in a minute, but I'll start with you first, Governor Ruto. How do you think the summit went yesterday? What did it achieve?
Yeah, we were able to thresh out quite a number of issues that have been outstanding and agree on way forward on a number of issues which have actually been of major concern to both the Council of Governors and I believe to the executive as well. Okay.
Well, watching you, it seemed that the body language was quite cordial. Yet, yes. If you read the papers of the past week, there's been a lot of acrimony, a lot of antagonism, and that was chiefly over the enhanced powers of the county commissioners. What was the outcome of the discussions on that?
Indeed, we did discuss that at length. And save for certain ideological differences on the role of the provincial administration and its very nature, considering that some of us have strong beliefs that the provincial administration was supposed to be scrapped according to Kenyans. If you check the records of the CKRC, the actual need for coordination of government services at the county is quite obvious, that some of them are now loose and they have no idea what they are supposed to be doing. There is need to put in place that coordinating mechanism, but it is not proper to purport to have given more powers to the county commissioners, other than powers to coordinate national government functions. And it should not in any way be seen to override the functions of the county governors, considering that the sovereignty of the people of Kenya is exercised at two levels, at the national and at the county level. We are made to understand that the county commissioners must continue to respect that pecking order, that actually, according to Section 54 of the County Governments Act, the governor is indeed the one who will expect briefs, including from that county commissioner, that Article Section 54(6), and all the other provisions, including those of 189 and 6, and also, one of our concerns.
Okay, let me just break it down, because it seems to me from what you're saying that there are a number of issues. One, that your authority as the chief executives of the counties was being undermined. Instead of having the county commissioners report to you, they would be reporting directly to the president. But there was also a feeling that the old provincial administration, which the new the constitution should have done away with, was being reincarnated.
Right, yes. We are not supportive of the reincarnation of the old provincial administration. What I think the drafters of the executive order failed to note is that this was basically for coordination of national government function. And it had nothing to do with giving executive powers to the county commissioners as if they are now in charge of the counties.
But they were called CEOs. When the statement was given,
no,
they were called CEOs.
There is a difference between what was said off the cuff and what is in the executive order. We read the executive order. There are certain aspects of the executive order which I do not quite agree with, but only in terms of phraseology, but not necessarily the substance or the content.
What is it you don't agree with?
I don't agree, for example, when you say the county commissioner has been given power to ensure compliance of national government policies at the county. You know, we as county governors implement national policies as we implement national government policies in the various sectors. So the county commissioner will not come to ensure that I have actually complied.
So who should Because ensure? That means that he has authority over you.
That would mean he has authority over me. In that compliance, I'm expected to comply and report generally to the various oversight authorities, including our assembly, including the various other organs that we are supposed to obey the Constitution. And the Constitution directs that we implement national government policy. I will also implement.
But there are certain functions of national government which are not with you, which are for.
Yes, and that is where we agree. That's where we agree. That, for example, the registration of persons is a national government functions. Security is general national government function, but certain aspects of that is also expected the governor to play, like 54.6. The County Security Committee should give briefs to the governor as need arises. And also for the purposes of, I think, 239, where it says the national security organs are subordinate to civilian authority. Section 54 clearly says for that purpose the governor shall chair such meetings. So we really wanted a clarification on that. One of the issues that was giving me trouble also was when off the cuff His Excellency the President mentioned that Kimayo is in charge of the police at the national level. The county commissioner is in charge of the police at the county level. According to me, Article 245 clearly gives the Inspector General unfettered and independent command of the police. And remember, even 239, I think, on national security, clearly insulates the police from taking partisan lines. If you give the county commissioner powers to give instruction to the police, they will take immediate political party lines. They will choose who is in the right books, who is not in the right books. They instruct the police to start disrupting your meetings. This has happened before. This is where Kenyans were trying to move away from. The county commissioner is never insulated from politics because he serves a political office. We do not expect county commissioners to bring back that bad habit of the past.
I think
and we are worried if the national government wants to bring that back. That is where we disagree with the provincial administration.
Well, David, I'll come to you in a minute. This is probably why you were re-elected as the chairman of the Council of Governors. I should have congratulated you before we started. But Mr. Nyachai, I saw you going through your documents. What's your perspective on this? Because you were at the summit yesterday at State House as well. And from the quotings, the reporting in the press. This is not an issue where you see that the executive is encroaching on county turf.
And not at all. The reason I was looking at my documents is listening to the governor. I think we need to go exactly to the wording of the executive order. And if you look at even the preamble of the executive order,
he's getting his as well.
In exercise of blah, blah, blah. I, Uhuru Kenyatta, President and Commander-in-Chief of the Defense Forces of the Republic of Kenya, hereby delegate the power to direct and coordinate the national government functions at county level to county commissioners. So at the very onset, I think the governor and the other governors really have nothing to worry. If the governor is concerned, as I hear him saying, for example, there are areas where the word ensure is used, then let's discuss that and be sure that ensure is used in the context of the power that is being delegated. And remember, the president, the phrase keeps being used like the president has increased the powers of county commissioners. Enhanced. This is not so. First of all, county commissioners is an office that is established under the National Government Coordination Act, and in fact, what the president is doing here is to delegate powers that he undoubtedly has to coordinate national government functions under Article 132 of the Constitution and under Article 7 of the National Government Coordination Act, to coordinate those to county commissioners. To delegate those to county commissioners to carry out on his behalf. So one, there is no question of any new powers. And two, clearly, those powers, and this is why, Governor, I don't think you should worry about words like ensure, because in any event, what the president has delegated can only be exercised within the context of the Constitution and of the law.
But would you not agree that if there's any ambiguity in the wording of the executive order, that it's open to mischief?
I don't think that there is ambiguity. I'm just trying to understand where where the governor is coming from, and the governor, and it's understandable, and he has said it. Is coming two things. One, the governor himself has said he always had an ideological problem about the provincial administration anyway. So for him, Section 17 of the 6th schedule, which talks about restructuring provincial administration, should have talked about abolishing provincial administration, which it doesn't. Now, unfortunately, Governor, we must deal with the Constitution as it is.
Right,
so,
let
me just finish.
Okay.
So, what, in fact, and I would agree with you, one of the questions we should have been asking pursuant to this executive order is to understand from the national government whether this in itself is part of the process of restructuring provincial administration under Section 17 of the 6th schedule. Now, that then we would have many ramifications, including the need for public participation. But to the extent that the president is merely delegating powers that he already has and is doing it for the purposes of enabling his delegatees, who in this case are the county commissioners, to coordinate national government functions, I don't see the ambiguity.
Yes, you see, there is confusion in what the president said and what is written here. But even what is written here is even more confusing. Take, for example, this order may be cited as the executive order for delegation of functions to the office of the county commissioner. Was he just coming up with an executive order for one office? My understanding is that he should have come up with the regulations to actualize or to operationalize the Coordination Act, in which it is already existing. That act is in existence. And that coordination starts at the top, all the way, cascading all the way down. But why jump to the middle and forget about that there was need for coordination over the national level? Has it been activated? Has the coordination structure cascaded all the way down? Secondly, if you read these things, for example, it says coordinate disaster management in the county where the national government is required to respond. Remember that the county governments also respond to disaster. Does it mean that the commissioner will be coordinating, including the county function? The purpose here would have said coordinate national government response to disaster management in the county where the national government is required to respond. A little bit of check on the wordings would have avoided this confusion. Remember that it is not entirely the writings in the law that I have a problem with. The spirit of the Constitution was that we have shifted to leadership, service leadership. Remember, the provincial administration, as it were instruments of rulership of Kenya, both in the colonial era and in the early part of independence, that we use them to rule Kenyans and not to serve. Therefore, when you reincarnate a provincial administration that has the power and the instruments of terror at their disposal, then you definitely...
But they don't, Governor.
No, when you give them to command the police, you are simply telling them that if Cheche starts having a rally or a meeting, a political meeting which is not agreeable...
Where does it give them the power to command it?
No, the moment you give them power to command the police...
But it doesn't.
In the off-the-cuff statement, we were told that the Kimayo is in charge in Nairobi. The county commissioner is in charge of police at the county level. That is extremely scary.
You know, the Constitution requires, and I can't get the article right now, the Constitution requires that when the president gives directives, they are done in writing.
Yes.
Which is what this executive order is. Yeah. Now, I don't think really we would help ourselves if we begin to discuss anything else that the president may have said off the cuff. I didn't watch it, but I am commenting on this, the executive order, right, which is the
So two things are happening here. You seem to be, Governor Rutos, you seem to be reading in between the wording, and Mr. Nyacha, you seem to be focused on the wording of the text. David, you found the argument so far back and forth somewhat amusing. What are your thoughts going?
Well, first of all, I think the president acted within his mandate to transfer those functions or vest life in the offices of the county commissioners, which is within his structure of government. I'm a bit worried about the governor's fear. You know, it is fear born of the past.
Is it fear or paranoia?
Yes.
Okay.
You know, the cobwebs of the provincial administration hanging all over the country are
Yes.
what are scary. But in reality, what the president is trying to do is what people have been calling on him to do. Because when there are all those failures of security, you know, illicit brew and all these things that have happened, when people demand of the executive, of the president, he needs to have people who execute. So his explanations, I think, to me, sit very well. The only problem is where I find the governors trying to say that when the county commissioners begin to perform those functions, they will be sort of encroaching on their territory. Because as he said, he expects briefs from the county commissioner. I was about to ask him, what briefs does he expect? Of course, there can be consultations on each of them performing their duties. If, for example, in the case he cited of disasters that occur, and the county government gratuitously intervenes because you know, it's within its location to and resources to perform that function. What is the problem with working with the
If you want me to give you the briefs.
with the what is the problem with coordinating with the officer charged with coordinating that function? Must it be, must your independence or the separation of these powers be so distinct as not to cohabit?
Section 54(6).
Yes.
The governor shall receive regular briefings from County Security Committee referred to under Section 41D of the National Police Service Act. Are you asking me why that particular provision is?
But what is the executive order, Governor? Stops the
They told the county commissioner, you now operate independently and report directly to the president, and that you are the top fellow in the county. But the president clarified. Let me again come up to this.
Okay.
It has been clarified to us that they have been instructed to operate strictly within the law. Now, our fear is that when you call the group and uniform and instruct them, some of them go overboard, including telling them to be in charge, including on to the teachers. Do you remember the DC Mwango, who actually found a teacher who had a beard like this one of Nyachai, and instructed the administration police to shave the fellow there and then.
But even,
give him a razor blade.
Even at that time,
now,
that was an illegal act, even then.
Are these the powers you are reincarnating in the provincial administration? Now, we need that clarification. That is why it is important that Kenyans debate, so that even the commissioners themselves understand that there is a new scenario, that theirs is coordination of national government function, and they must continue to respect all other provisions, including 239, I think.
Let me ask you this. If the governor, the security committee ignores the governor, does not give briefs,
this is the law.
Suppose they don't do it, what recourse do you have?
This is the law.
Because with those kind of instructions, considering your fear, if they don't do it, what recourse do you have?
If you instruct them not to do it, then you will have violated the constitution. Remember, let me also read to you that 254, that 54 and also 239 says that national security, that is 239, I think, 5.
Yes.
It said the national security organs are subordinate to civilian authority. And 54 says for that purpose, at the county level, it is the governor who chairs such things. We don't expect them then to disobey or to completely ignore the provisions of the constitution.
Although, Governor, the constitutional reference to civilian authority is really at the top. That is why
you are expected to respect, including the laws as well.
Yes,
because the laws operationalize that. What does 54 say?
Yeah, but you're not talking about. You see, if you talk about the police, for example. No, Governor. When you talk about the police, for example, you talk. First of all, remember 245. The IG has independent command.
Correct.
So the command structure starts from the top.
That is it.
Now the civilian authority is over and above.
There is oversight, the police oversight.
Not just that. Even the law gives the cabinet secretary powers
in writing.
Yeah, that's fine. Right. You see what is happening here, Governor, is you are seeing ghosts and you are trying to find a way of exorcising those ghosts, and yet you cannot, by reference to the executive order. Yeah?
And the ghosts are there, by the way.
No.
Kenya is full of ghosts.
I know,
finish your
what I'm saying.
never saw them.
Okay.
Never saw those ghosts for very obvious reasons.
Which obvious reasons?
Such as?
He was sitting in the backyard.
No, let me just forgive him because he never saw those ghosts. And don't ask me to explain why I think you never saw the ghosts.
No.
We need to explain Kenyans.
Yeah.
We have seen them.
Because you're making a reference
We have
here.
seen them.
I know
in
what
the
he's
past.
referring to.
What is he referring to?
He's referring to the fact that the provincial administration, of course, where his father served.
Yes.
Or that system of government.
Yes.
And Cheche, as the son of one of those prominent...
The most powerful.
yes, did not feel the pressure of the people who are
Did not see
recipients
the pressure.
of that
No.
action. I think
And
that is
born-
enlightened.
If we
has
yeah,
not borne the brunt
with the light,
of the provincial administration at its worst.
with a light touch, Governor, on the same vein.
Yes.
You are a minister in the Nyayo government.
Yes.
If we start,
I was a minister. And I was a minister, and even as a minister with the flag,
For
the
rural
provincial
development.
administration could tell me, shut up, there is no meeting here.
fact,
And
he
order
was-
the police to throw tear gas at a meeting presided over by a
In
cabinet
fact, he was a governor in preparation because he was in charge of rural development, and which now governors are dealing with.
you know what I
These same
think.
fellows could throw tear gas at me
What
in spite of the flag.
Okay, fine. So we've
All right.
explained that.
Yeah,
Let's
what I think,
stick
what
to
I
the present
think
now.
we should be addressing, and there I would be in agreement with you. Section 17, because I see your biggest concern is about provincial administration
Yes.
and the possible reincarnation of the old administration. Section 17 of the 6th schedule to the Constitution requires the national government within a period of 5 years to restructure the system of provincial administration so that it accords with the system of devolved government.
Yes.
Now, I think that is probably what we should be addressing, and if you are asking, it would be a legitimate question. And by the way, I agree with you that there is a need for regulations under the National Government Coordination Act so that this is put in context.
Yes.
But if you are asking that is the national government, is this executive order part of the process of restructuring provincial administration, I think that is an important question.
Yes.
And that is a legitimate conversation that we should be having as a country. And with a focus on according with the system of devolved government. That is why I see nothing in the order.
Isn't it the fact that they have even got new names?
Maybe that's part of the...
But they were old
County
uniforms.
commissioners.
They haven't county committee, they have got something
Nyachae
to do with
and
administration.
myself and all of us understand
Yeah.
that if you are in the process of restructuring the provincial administration,
Yeah.
you must go through public participation.
I agree.
There has not been public participation on what do we want the provincial administration to look like. I would like to believe that the president was actually coordinating some, national government functions at the county level. But also remember that every minister or what are they called? Cabinet secretary have executive powers to ensure their departments actually work. When you tell us that, for example, the engineer has gone bananas, you need a county commissioner, that means the entire ministry in charge of roads is actually gone completely haywire themselves. Because they are supposed to ensure that there is service delivery in their entire docket. But an admission that they are unable to do that leaves a lot of questions to be asked.
So much has been said about the wording of the executive order. Who drafted it then? If we want to take up the sensitivities around the words, the choice of words.
I suspect it must be the old provincial administration mandarins at OP who actually have a mindset of control and not a mindset of leadership. There is a shift in the way Kenya is actually led, that there is service leadership, not rule. So we got to watch our minds.
But Governor, what in this executive order suggests that there is a reversion to the old mentality of rule rather than service? Because the way I read it is the president, first of all, he has an obligation. In fact, one is even tempted to say that the president has delayed. He has taken too long in doing this.
Yes.
But now that he has done it, he has an obligation to coordinate national government functions at the county level.
Yes.
What then should flow from that, and this is what I would have expected you and the council to be concerned about, is how then do you ensure, in terms of Article 6 of the Constitution, that there is consultation and cooperation in order to make devolution work. Consultation and cooperation at every level, including at the county level.
Yes.
But you know, even listening, Governor, to some of the issues which were almost coming up in yesterday's meetings, there are those who seem to be concerned about things like, you know, what is going to happen at national, you know, those national days, who is going to read
No, we are not
President's
interested.
speech.
No.
Oh, I'm saying what I had.
No one talked about reading the speech.
Aye.
We have
is an
always
issue.
said, no.
Even
There is no possibility.
order says, the executive order clearly gives that power to
No,
the
they
county
have always
commission.
said that, and we
Yeah.
agreed in the first summit, which was held in June.
Yeah.
Pre-June, we agreed. There is no way. I have a government. There is the national government. There is no way I'm going to read their speech. I can only read my speech.
Okay, let me address the key issue. Who
Yes.
will speak? Who will be the owner of the function? Who will speak last? The
Who is
It
the
is the
host?
governor. That has always been. But the county commissioner will read the president's speech. After that, then I give mine and explain further on the issues.
Has
of the
that
county.
protocol been agreed in the summit meeting?
It has always been like that for the last 1 year. Nothing has
So there will
changed.
be no more
Yeah,
reversion
and
to the
we have
contests.
never. In fact, we agreed last year when there were some who thought you could read the president's speech, but then me, I've never also believed in that.
Okay, so that's
because
your position as the
it's
chair of the
mine.
Council of Governors, but
We
you
have
also seem
always
to be
agreed.
saying that Mr. Cheche was hearing his own things at the summit
No,
yesterday.
did anyone really say that they want to read the president's speech? Then who will read his? Will you read
let
two
me-
speeches?
Mr. Chai, I mean, from what you've explained, it's clearly the president has embarked in a way on executing or trying to reform the provincial administration
Yes.
to accord with the new devolved system of government.
Yes.
If that were the case, wouldn't you have a problem with that? And if so, what would be the right
A problem,
approach
sorry, a problem with what?
with that piecemeal implementation or restructuring of the provincial administration to accord with the devolved government?
Yeah,
as
to-
provided in the constitution.
yes,
If that
the-
is what he has begun doing,
Yeah.
wouldn't there be a problem?
You know, David, if we were now discussing issues like, you know, the national government needs to come out clearly in terms of what it is doing, and this we have even communicated with them as CIC in terms of what it is doing to comply with Section 17. If we are discussing issues like how are we going to ensure that this executive order is consistent with the regulations under the National Government Coordination Act, those I think are legitimate issues. Where I have a problem, and this is what I have spoken about in the last few days, was the sort
Claim
of
that
what
the
seemed to be a
president acted
knee-jerk
wrong.
reaction, including, with all due respect, Governor, your press conference after that, which seemed to be up in arms that the whole executive order is unconstitutional. You even threatened
To sue.
to sue, to go to court.
Yes.
And when we look at now, if you look at the order now, Governor, what would you be saying in court?
I have mentioned to you there are wordings here that are wrong. And
so what would you want
but the
to
whole
report?
essence,
The what?
but the essence, I have agreed with Nyachai. You know, we talked about after we watched the president's speech, and the aspects of the speech which he was giving were completely contrary to what
Let me
he's
ask
been
the
saying.
governor. The
For
word there is
example-
ensure, for example.
No, let me
ensure.
tell you. The point here we were against. We called for this order, which we finally got on Monday. Was
Yes.
it Monday? Yeah, we finally got on Monday. And then we went through it. Other than the wordings where we put in question marks, the whole essence of coordination is not really an issue. But during the day that this was being launched, the statements that were made were
And so that's what you were reacting
patently
to.
unconstitutional. Remember, my reaction at that time was hardly an hour after the speech had been made.
Which is your mistake, because then
is
you
not my
you
mistake.
are
I
reacting.
watch you.
You jumped
But
the
the
gun.
I watch.
constitution. But Governor,
Remember what the president says is very important.
you know,
Because it
Governor.
communicates to everybody. But let me ask you.
And you are giving instructions to people seated who are in uniform.
Let's-
Remember, I've been also questioning even in Parliament
Yeah.
whether the uniform provincial administration is it a paramilitary force? Is it a new? What is it?
What is the need for the pith helmet? Yes.
What is it? What is the need for the helmets?
Aye.
What is the need for all these things, all this paraphernalia, which you have always used to scare people in the villages? So what exactly are we doing? If we are doing coordination, let's get a coordinating officer
Yeah,
and
but
let
people,
him be.
people in the villages are scared by many things, including long governor's motorcade with those.
Cyrus.
And
Which is a good point for us to take a break. We'll take a break now. This is Cheche, live on Citizen
Example,
TV.
uniform. What is all this?
Right, we'll take a break now and come back to that. Our guests this morning are the Bomet Governor and Chair of the Council of Governors, Isaac Ruto, and the Chairman of the Constitution Implementation Commission, Charles Cheche. Your questions for them are welcome on SMS number 22422, or you can tweet us. Our handle is @Cheche_TV.